right.
And we're back.
And we're back. You good on camera? I'm good. All right. Welcome, everyone, to our inaugural first episode of a podcast we like to call Daddy Issues. Yeah.
Cue the music.
Cue the music. I'm here. My name is Ola. I'm here with my good friend
Lito.
Lito, what up?
What up, man? So tell us about yourself, your journey. Not your journey, but just introduce yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Ola, and I became a father about 16 months ago, and I wanted to, I don't know necessarily start a podcast, but I have a lot of conversations. Just giving y'all a little history. Me and Lito have been friends since high school. That was a long time ago.
It wasn't that long ago.
And me and him always talk about issues about being fathers, right? Because I'm a brand new father. He's been a father for
8 years now.
All right. What's your daughter's name?
Amina, 8-year-old Amina. She does so much stuff, man. She's an actress. She's about to be a green belt in Taekwondo. She's a singer, dancer, cheerleader. She does everything. I'm trying to get her into basketball. Obviously, we met playing ball. She's tall. She's 4'9" as of her doctor appointment the other day. So I know she's gonna be a nightmare on the court once we get her involved in basketball. But yeah, she's great, man. Being a father has taught me a lot. But we're gonna get into that.
Yeah. And I talk about him like, cause he got like a 7-8 year head start. I am the father to a 16-month-old named Abiola, my first child. I had it later than most, above the average age of what most people have, later in my 30s. And it's just interesting because I speak to Lito all the time about dad stuff. And we was like, we could like really put this out there because a lot of fathers really don't have a forum, I don't think, to speak about daddy issues. Shameless plug. Yeah.
So there are other. So after we talked about putting this together, I was like, I don't think I've ever heard of a podcast with dads on it. And then I did some research. After 5 minutes, I found a bunch of them. And I mean, it's fine. That there's other ones doing it. Salute to them. There's one that I started listening to myself, where it's a guy. He interviews like famous people. And their experience being dads is going to be completely different than the average person like us, So I think, having those perspectives is fine, but having our perspectives and perspectives of people we know is also good.
Yeah, and that's why we wanted to, I guess, do this, because this first episode we're going to talk about expectations, because we had 9 months, I guess, before that, and a lot of talks with our partners, what we expected and what actually was reality when we had a baby in our arms for the first time, and through your 8 years as a father, me 16 months. So we're going to talk about this episode, expectations versus reality. But first, I want to ask you, this is something, we play a few games here on the Daddy Issues podcast.
I don't know if I was prepared for this. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's go. So what was your first I'm a father moment?
It probably happened before she was even born. I remember, my wife and I, so we've been married for 13 years now. So, those first 5, we were childless, doing a lot of traveling and all that. And then, we decided, that it was time. So once she told me she was pregnant, I was like, when you hear that as a young man, your first inclination is to be afraid and scared. Like what? Like I'm about to be somebody's dad. But no, I was like, I was excited. I was happy. We were in a situation where, we can afford to have a kid and everything. So I was excited to be a father. I don't know. But I guess, when she was born that day, I remember that whole day. It was like a day at work, 9 to 5. Labor started at 9. She was born, almost at 6 o'clock. And, when she arrived, like, I was just like, little thug tear shed from my eye, single tear. Yeah. Single. My wife looked at me. She looked at me like, yo, what are you doing?
Just let y'all know, Lito don't really be.
It's good with you. Yeah. But, I think that first day, man, from before to that first day, I was just like, yo, this is it. What about you?
Me? So, all right. So, I guess it's a 2-part answer, because wife comes to me, we planned for this after the wedding, and she came to me in the room one day. You do adult things, so you expect adult not consequences, but adult endings. And she says, let's play hangman. I said, all right. She puts it up. I said, we never play hangman. I see the spaces. I go, you're pregnant.
You couldn't even let her enjoy. Get it.
Can I buy a vowel?
Nah.
Nah. I was like, we're pregnant. She was like, and then she showed me the stick and whatever. And I don't know, my heart started beating fast. Like, yo, son, that's it.
Yeah, it's different. It's a different experience. You can't practice for this. It's like there's nothing you could do.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta just as you go along, you're gonna learn stuff and you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah. And I was like, all the things you've heard, all of this, you're about to prepare yourself for a never-ending journey of being a father. And I was like, yo, like, and I'm like, when you're younger and you may have had a scare, and that kind of, because you're young and you don't know what to do, I'm like, why is my heart beating? Like, we planned for this, we tried, and it didn't take long, so why your heart beating? But I guess it's something new, something you've never done. And then that's the first part. But the second part was when she was born, and wife was with her a lot. She took off time and I went to work, whatever. But she said, I want to go out or go to the store or something. I was like, yeah, go ahead, just leave me with this stuff, and the kid is sleeping in the bottles. I see you do this, over the last few weeks. Like, she never really left me with her. She leaves me with her. And it's like the door closed and it was like The Exorcist. This kid is sleeping and I'm shook. Cause she left me the bottles. We've done this many times. Kid wakes up, sleep. Basically, kid is sleep and eat, basically, when they're born. And I'm just praying, please don't wake up.
How long she was gonna be out for?
She was like, what, around maybe an hour. And I was like, please don't wake up. Like, I'm sitting there, I don't want to turn on the TV. You tippy toe in. And then she wakes up. I'm like, all right, then you warm up the bottle. The bottle warmers are great now, I guess, from when we were young. They do it to the exact temperature. But then you're like, is it too hot, too cold? So you start drinking milk, and it's breast milk. So
you was drinking it?
You got to see if it's too hot, right?
Oh, that's crazy.
You got to see if it's too hot, right? So
yes, you do. People usually put it on their wrist and test it like that. But yo, you didn't know what you was doing, so it's all good.
We're gonna talk about dad hacks later, because that's I didn't even think about that at the time. But yeah, I think I've heard it since then. But I don't know, something like taste it, because if it's too hot for you, because baby can't tell you unless they start crying. But it was like The Exorcist that day. I looked over, my neck turned, everything, like, I thought I was the man, like, oh, I can handle this. And I was shook, daddy. But I guess it's the first time she's gonna hear that. But I was scared. But that was my I'm a father moment. That was I'm your father moment, I guess. So saying all that, what did you expect before you became a father?
Man, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I had any expectations. I was just like, we're gonna see what happens. Because I know one thing I realized is that kids, whatever you want them to be, they're their own person, right? Like we are too. Our parents probably had plans for us and things that they wanted us to do, but like your kid is gonna have their own personality, their own sense of humor. They're gonna handle things differently than you might have or what you think they should. So it's like, you can expect whatever. I would say she probably exceeded every expectation I had. She's just such a great kid, and I'm lucky, in that respect. But like, it's just, I knew that, whatever I wanted probably wasn't, I'm like, I can't just be like, oh, this is what I want, and that's what's going to happen. I had to be realistic about that. So expectations were probably like, just be a healthy kid and grow up, and we decide, where you're going to go from there.
You don't even think about that. The healthy, let's say, like, I wanted to be a basketball player, engineer, all this stuff, expectations. But for me, it was like, yo, I just wanted to be healthy, and I got a story about that. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you did bring something up. The basketball thing, like I said before, like we grew up playing sports. That's how I met most of my friends. I met playing basketball somehow. But she is like completely into the arts. She is like sports. She doesn't care. It's so funny, but with her, she's tall, so I'm like, yo, you gotta play some basketball, volleyball, tennis, something. And she was at camp and they had a basketball hoop outside, and like I picked her up. I'm like, yo, let's go shoot before we leave. She's like, no, I don't want to. I'm like, no, let's just just show me what you got. So she shoot like a couple shots, and then we left. And I don't want to force her because I don't want her to hate it and like, oh, I don't ever want to touch a basketball. So I'm bringing her along slowly. Yeah. Hopefully, we get one of those D1 scholarships. That's all we need. We just need free college.
D1, But yeah, at 16 months, Abby is very active. My daughter Abby, she's active. And I got the little baby soccer ball, and I take her out to the field and, try to kick her, try to steer her that way. But then, expectation, because we know what we know. We knew basketball. We knew sports. I don't know the arts. I
don't know nothing about the arts, man. It's all finding help. Like, we know some people that do, and we listen to them or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like, all right, I know sports and she seems to be like into buttons and pressing buttons, and she walked at 8 months. Like, yeah, I was like, yo, she never wanted to be in a playpen.
That's like jail for a kid. They'll never want to be in.
It's like, oh, we set it up. She was done with a playpen, didn't want to be on her back, was turning over, was walking, and I'm thinking about all the expectations as they get older. It's like you want to skip from first year to the fourth year, like get her, she's in school. But for us, it was, you could expect whatever you want, but reality is you really don't. And this is hard for me as a man. I don't have any control over anything, especially when she was in the womb. She was pregnant. The wife was pregnant. So we had a scare. It was like, because of wife's age, we waited till our later 30s. And because of an ultrasound that her nose was, I think, flat, something like that. I'm just remembering the story. They were like, there's a chance she could have Down syndrome. And that was the first time in my life as a man I felt helpless, because, you could throw money at problems. You could, ideas. You can't do anything when she's in the womb, and you can't hold her. You can only comfort wife. So they're saying Down syndrome, which I'm an educator, by the way, and it's not the end of the world. It's just now your expectation is something else.
It's a different type of lifestyle that you gotta, raise,
prepare for. Kid, yeah. And now it's like we have to have this conversation. So I remember they said we want to do an amniocentesis.
What?
Yeah.
I don't know. What is that?
Amniocentesis, when they go and they go into the pregnant woman, they stick a needle and they take out amniotic fluid to test. They can test for certain things. Down syndrome is one, a bunch of that. And I didn't know, I heard the name before, but now you Googling everything, Google it. So you're saying all that and you're like, oh man. And you hear that it could cause a miscarriage. And now
doing the test?
Doing the test.
Oh, wow.
You're 15 weeks in. So you're 4 months in and you only have up to like 15 weeks where they'll do it. So we're like 15 weeks in and like, you got to decide. Pressure's on. I don't know if I spoke to you about it at the time, but I asked my boy, who's also a nurse, and she's in the medical field too, the wife. And we sitting in the car outside the hospital when we go for the test, and like, you got like a 24 hours to decide and whatnot, or something like that. And we just crying.
I know you're an emotional guy. You be like reminiscing and emotional.
Yeah, so I can see that from you. This is a cancer. That's what cancers do, right?
Cancers do, apparently, yeah.
So I'm like, I'm helpless. And I asked my mom. My mom is very religious. Pray on it, and I'm more practical. I say is like, why should we do this? Because we want to prepare ourselves for a child who might have special needs. But if we don't, does it matter? Because there's nothing we could do. This is the conversation we're having in real time. But let's prepare ourselves. How safe is the amnio? All right, we decide to do it. I literally can see the needle go in on the ultrasound on the thing. I've never held somebody's hand so tight. Not even turbulence on a plane. not yeah. I as a man now, you like, yo, you feeling like a little boy. Like I'm telling you, I'm feeling this way in real time. And she said, oh, the baby might touch the needle. And you could see my baby's hand touching, like moving towards it. Because if you know Abby now, she's touching everything. So I'm like, maybe that was
all over the place.
Say, draw the amniotic fluid out and they do the test. You're like, everything's good. No problem. She like, you made me go through this.
No, but yo, we had a similar thing when during a pregnancy, they did a scan that said like the baby has a hole in her heart. And it might close, it might not. We don't know. And this is like, I'm probably thinking we're like 6-7 months in.
I remember you.
Yeah, I'm like, we can't do nothing. We just gotta keep going back and doing scans, and they'll let us know if it closed or not. Like luckily, it all worked out.
It all worked out.
But
yeah.
like that, I mean, that whole pregnancy journey in itself is crazy and scary as well. Before the baby even arrives, like you on pins and needles the whole time.
You on pins and needles, and we like you get in the room ready and this and that. So you're not thinking as a dad. I don't know if this is every dad. I'm thinking like sports and even college and
you thinking way ahead in the future.
Who's she gonna look like? Mom, like stuff like that, which should go through your head, but you're not thinking. Mom is thinking prenatal vitamins and and signing up on apps and mommy and me classes in Lamaze or whatever it was at the time. And it's a good thing. It just, we had to go through that a little bit because it put myself in a frame of mind to have to think of those things. So that was the expectations part. Reality, when they pulled her out, and I'm in the delivery room.
Did you help? Did you do anything?
No, it was C-section. So
okay,
it was like they said go in first, right? For her, we get her ready. We'll call you in.
Yup, like she
was up. She chilling. Like. Wife is chilling, so she's like, let me. I was like, all right, I'm sitting in the room. I think I'll hit y'all up in the group chat, and I'm taking pictures, but I'm nervous but I'm happy because now this is the moment. I don't have to. I remember her coming from work like 2 or 3 days before because we had it scheduled, and she has to take the train home sometimes in New York. You have the railroads, and I'm just like, this will be the one night that something happens. And that's how my mind thinks sometimes. I don't know why, but this would be the one night that she stops working, she comes home or something like that. And I'm like, I remember she made it home that morning. Now all we got to do is just wait. I drove her everywhere. She hungry. Like, I'm scared. I'm on pins and needles. The cravings, the things of that nature. I'm just like, man, it's now. I'm here. We're in the hospital, and I'm talking to another father. He's like, yeah, this is my third one. So
he got experience. He's like, yeah,
it's my third one. So how was it for you that morning? Was it a delivery that came out of nowhere? Like,
no, it was scheduled as well. So my wife had a high risk pregnancy. So they induced her at 39 weeks, which is, 40 weeks is the normal term. So they did it a week early. So the night before we went in, we got prepared, got a good night's sleep and everything. So we woke up the next morning. It was on. It was like, yo, everybody coming in.
It's game time.
Nurses coming in. Doctors coming in. Check. I was, do the whole thing. It's funny. I remember this one time. They hooked her up to some machine where they could test the contractions and see how they have a scale for how high they go. And her mom is there with me. And like my wife, she made it look very easy. But it was like she would go to sleep. And then a contraction would come and it'll wake her up and she'll jump up, right?
Oh, word?
So they kept getting higher and higher as the day progressed. And there was one, it was like 100. And my mother-in-law goes, oh man, that was a big one. I'm like, yo, chill. Like, chill. She don't need to know the number.
She hyping it.
I'm like, yo, she need to know that. But, at the end, towards the end, when, it's time to push, I'm holding legs. I'm like, running around, I'm getting you need I don't like whatever they needed. I'm like, yo, I'm with it. I was doing everything. I was like,
you're super dad already. Yeah. He's about to deliver the baby and all that.
I was like, hut one.
hut. Yeah. So then reality comes in. You remember the first time holding her?
I remember, man, I was taking selfies, taking pictures.
Yeah.
I was sending pictures to my sister. She wasn't even cleaned off yet. I was like, I probably could have waited to send these, but I was just so excited and happy.
I did the same thing, but the crazy thing was they were tapping her feet. Her temperature was low, and I was like, everything's good. I could see Abby. She didn't cry, so you like, ain't baby supposed to cry?
Yeah, Nina didn't cry either.
Oh wow. So she's just sitting there, fluid, all of that. I'm taking pictures, and they like, her temperature isn't going up. The temperature isn't going up. It's staying at don't quote me, it's like 32 degrees Celsius, something like that. And wife could hear that in the back. Like they put the baby to the side, and she's like, everything okay? I said, yeah, I'm trying to, because she's the type sometimes maybe, and I'm the calm type. I'm like, oh, everything's good. No, it's not. Like, it's like I can hear them, and it's like, no. And then like they're like just tapping her feet, like, we got to bring her to the NICU. I didn't even know. I knew like a NICU and the natal whatever ICU or whatever, and I was like, I didn't even know like there's a whole floor for that. I thought, and they brought her to her. You know, I have a picture of her just looking at the baby, talking to her, because it was no delivery through vaginal. It was a C-section. So wife is just chilling. We talking to the anesthesiologist. He's standing there.
She didn't feel like nothing.
She didn't feel nothing. They, you know, whatever. And then when they pulled her out, though, yeah, you know me, Niagara Falls. I'll say it. I don't care. I don't care. Yeah, I was like, yo, man, like, look at her. And she looked at me all like she ain't cry, and I'm like, oh man, this is what the human that has been kicking my hand and punching out. And we thought one time she wasn't moving. We rushed to the hospital, and it was a pretty easy pregnancy in terms of, like, you know, that in itself. But just seeing her, like, and then she goes up to the NICU, and so now my mind is like, they didn't call us for like an hour when we went back into the room, and I'm like, yo, this is, I can't recover from this. But again, my mind shouldn't be thinking that, whatever, if something happens. They're like, oh, everything's good. You can go to the NICU and go see her. I go up there. She's in the machine, the incubator, I guess they call it. And
you cried for a second time?
Nah, I didn't cry though. But I'm like, this is everything you've asked for, and it came true. And there's nothing wrong with her. The nurse is telling me nothing abnormal. We just do this because her temperature. This is not. But you guys are good. You could go to the room. So I stayed with her in the room we think we were there for 2 days. She doesn't get to see her immediately because she doesn't go up. They don't let her up. But that night they did. And we just like, yo, here it is. Here's the beginning. And we there for 2 days. We drive home. I can't front. The 2 days in the hospital was uncomfortable because it's a small room. We in our own room. But I bawled again when we were about to leave the hospital, because now I'm like, we were so much of family in the hospital room. I did not want the real world to like her now. It's like her innocence is gone. Like, I got to bring her onto the street.
Yeah, I was like that too, because we stayed in the hospital for like 2-3 days or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
They had this little chair, like a chair that came out to a bed. I was sleeping on that. I was watching. I remember. So it was like they came in the room. I was watching. It was funny. I remember. I never forget. I was watching Aladdin on the TV. So I'm sitting there chilling, and it was like, yeah, you guys gotta like leave. And I'm not trying to go nowhere. Yeah. But yeah, we had to like go get the car seat. They had to make sure the car seat was in.
The car seat thing was like, did you put it in? This baby can't fly. Did you do it? But we actually went to where we lived, the county. They put the seat, like the cops will show you how to put the seat in and all that. And then I had to go get the part, you know, it's 2 parts, the base and then the actual chair, put her in, and then the nurses stopped feeding her. And she wasn't, but we'll talk about that, I guess, later. Breastfeed, she didn't latch on immediately and stuff like that. And it was like, we just using the formula. I didn't even know. I didn't know this. The formula was just ready made. I remember my mom mixing it like she in the back. I didn't know that. I didn't know you could just pick it up from this. They had it. We like, yo, give us all that to go home, so we don't have to pay for it, right? So, baby was good in that nature. Her parents came to see, and it was like my boy came to see, and it was dope. But I know I bawled out that. I'm like, man, she and wife looking at me like, what's wrong with you? Like, you crying a lot, like you. I'm like, the real world, she about to experience the world I know for almost 40 years, what the ills of this world. But I also had to calm myself down, like, okay, so what? Like, she, as a dad, you don't want her to struggle or go through anything. That's what I'm thinking about. Pull the car around. I ain't never drive so safe in my life.
Yeah, if anybody know you all over the road. So
I might pick up the phone. I remember I said to you on the group chat, I said, I'm driving home. It took like an hour. I will not see you guys until and I never do that. Put the phone down, 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Yeah. And I'm driving. She's sitting back there, and I'm like, man, you better make it home. And then make it home. Go upstairs, the baby. We sit, and we just look at each other like, all right, what we do now? How was it for y'all?
It was the same. It was the same, man. I drive home. You know, they brought her out, checked the chair and everything, and we drove home. And it was funny because at the time, we were living in Michigan, and my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law came to stay with us for a little while. So they were already in the house, we're driving home, and we had like a tutor for my brother-in-law, so this girl was there too. So we get home, and everybody's like, "Oh, we can't wait to see the baby, to come in the house." And I cannot get the car seat out of the car. What? I forgot how to put it in and take it out. I'm like struggling trying to get it out, and I'm like, it's like 15 minutes. Everybody's still waiting for me to get the baby in the house. So I was like, yo, I just unbuckled her and like carried her out. And I was like, I'll figure this out later because I don't know what I'm doing right now. But I was like scared, like even just to carry her from the car into the thing without having her in the car seat was scary. Like all of that. Like those first like days, you like, yo, I don't want to break this kid. Yeah,
I want to break this kid, yo. Like before they could even make a sound or whatever. But like it was crazy. Like you remember that first diaper change, like the first, not diaper change, but the first bad diaper, like really bad.
Man, there were so many bad ones. I don't remember the first one, and it was a long time ago.
Well, I remember I said, yeah, I got this. I'm thinking, you just like put tape if it's extra. Like put tape. Like what's wrong with you? But I'm so delicate, and it's a girl, so I'm like already thinking like you can't be like this is your bro, like your little boy. And I'm like, I used so many wipes that first time. That's how I remember. I'm taking out wipes. And I'm like, you don't want to touch any excrement and stuff like that. And then you just like, nah, the baby's up. And she's like, oh, let me help. My mom come in and do it like a pro, right? So she's two wipes. Yeah, if your fingers touch it, touch it.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Like, and I'm like, yo, mom, man, like, but this segment I was gonna say is called Dad Hacks. Dad Hacks. Is this something you do as a dad, a hack that you could share with other dads? I could go first if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. I got this song.
And so dealing with diapers, you're saying diapers, right? One time she was at home and baby crying, the diaper is flooded with everything. So I forget the wipes. I forget that we put like Aquaphor on the thing. My mom showed me a hack where instead of putting your hands directly on the baby, like you take your hand of Aquaphor, put it on the baby, you take the pamper and you kind of smooth it into the jar of Aquaphor, and you kind of rub it like that so your hands aren't contaminating or whatever it does to the baby. And I'm like, oh, that's dope. So I forget the wipes, or we were out and was upstairs or whatever. So I already did but you got to clean the baby. I'm like, what am I going to do now? I didn't even think. I thought I held her legs. I took the diaper and I used it to clean the baby down, because you don't want to go up into I cleaned it down. So I'm like, oh, you could actually take the diaper and clean down, and that will you
have less
stuff stuff to wipe, because I'm gonna go get the wipes. But if I pick her up now, I gotta either put the diaper back on or stuff is gonna be all over the house, because baby is not, she moved a lot and she on a changing table. So I used it. That was my dad hack, my first dad hack, that I took it and then I was like, all right, it's enough where I can now run to get some wipes out the closet and do and stuff like that. So dad hack, that's a dad hack. I'm sure it's pretty simple for me, but I felt like I was a damn rocket scientist when I came up with it. But you got any?
I would just always have backup everything everywhere, like
a utility belt.
Not even on me, but just like if we was downstairs, I had wipes over here, wipes over there, wipes upstairs, like everywhere. So I'm never anywhere I am, I'm good. Like if we got to do it right here, it's wipes here. If I got to do it upstairs, it's wipes upstairs. So I just put stuff everywhere. Make sure I had like 10 different changing stations, and we was good.
Oh, you got damn. Yeah, we figured that being in a house, having to change the station here, then you have a nanny, so she don't have to go upstairs, and it got to be in a point where, and I always thought about this, like being a teammate, what's next? Like you got it now, and just talking about safety, like now reality hits. You got it now. All that stuff you used to leave around, all the plugs, and you got to now think the next step. Like if she's over there, the worst thing, that's me, could happen. So now when I didn't want to clean up before going to bed, I gotta clean this up, or wife has to remind me to clean it up, or she pick it up because I left whatever out, and that could be a hazardous thing, and that's reality, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we was lucky because she never, most kids, most babies, they put a lot of stuff in their mouth.
Yeah.
She never did that.
And mine either.
Yeah,
she never really did that.
I don't know what it is or why, but we was always lucky. It's not like we was always. I'm always, trying to be neat with my stuff anyway. But things do happen, and just we're lucky. She never ever tried to put, when she saw a new thing, she'll pick it up and look at it, but she never tried to put it in her mouth.
Yeah, and was your baby? And I always thought this, again, expectation. I expected to be on the pacifier and just pacify. But my mom was like, a pacifier is for adults, so you don't have to hit a baby.
Yeah,
that's what she was saying.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's to pacify adults.
We never used a pacifier.
No, you never?
Never. We tried. I think I tried to give it to her one time. She was crying. I couldn't get her to stop. I'm like, all right, we're going to try this. Put it in her mouth. She spit it right out. It's like, all right, forget it. We ain't going to try this no more.
This one, boom. And you just, she didn't take to breastfeeding, and breastfeeding is like, I thought a baby being in the stomach was like the most human, natural thing I've ever seen, which it is. Like, I got to experience it. I've seen people pregnant, but now I'm living with someone. I'm married to someone who's breastfeeding. It's like a whole nother world. Like, the baby, she wasn't latching. So now you feel helpless again. I felt helpless. Like, what can I do? Because they say, that connects you more to the mother, the nutrients. Then you also hear stuff about formula. You're helpless again as a man. She's not latching. We get the lactation specialist. They have a lactation specialist.
Oh, y'all went all out.
They have a person who comes in, and they are doing whatever a person does on the breast, the lactation specialist, and you just watching like, hope she latches today. And I thought it was like you're in the delivery room and the baby climbs on her and it finds the breast. That's what I saw on TV. But it took I think a month or so, and baby finally now, man, I thought those breasts were for me.
You thought.
That baby still, that's her thing. That's her calm down. That's her thing. But I don't know if it would have made a difference in terms of the way she developed, but I know we haven't questioned anything with development because the formula was going.
Yeah, she developed her development. Like, she got coordination. She could kick the ball. Like, you should send me videos of her. She's doing all kind of stuff. I'm like, yo, I can't believe this girl's not even 2 yet and doing all this stuff.
Yeah, and that's the reality of it. So I still try to keep calm as a dad. Like, yeah, that's my baby, but I don't want to, like you get like some parents, and I guess that's what they do. I'm not trying to down anybody, but like, yeah, my baby's a genius, so this and that. I don't want to say that or do that and put undue expectations on her. I just know I have to get her ready for a life when we're not gonna be here. That's my dad. That's what my parents. I lost my father recently, and my parents got me ready for a life of them not being here. I still have my mom, but that's always my goal. Like, keep in mind, I don't want anything from her. I don't expect her to be anything but something that I set her up to be in terms of being. I don't say, oh, she got to be a college graduate and a PhD and all this other stuff. I don't know where that's going to lead. I don't know what her sexual orientation will be. I don't know what her school choices will be. That's not for me necessarily to decide. It's just to set her up to make the right decisions, because that's what I know, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and RIP to your dad. He was a funny guy, man.
My dad was funny. Yeah,
he was a funny guy.
And
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was saying, like, yeah, you're right. Like, our job, I think, as fathers is to have. You want your child to be able to make the right decisions when you're not around, right? So whether it's you just not around because they at school, or you're not around because you're not here anymore. Either way, they have to be able to make those decisions, good decisions on their own. And, it's just our purpose is to guide them through as best as we can, so that when it comes time to make a real decision, that they make the best one for themselves.
Yeah, and putting that control in their hands. I never wanted to be that controlling father, but I guess you gotta play it by ear. Like, you can't say you're a controlling father or not. Like, I learned it. Like, you always told me this. Like, there is no book for this. There's no, like, he always used to say, like, you didn't tell me, like, oh, have a kid, but it's like, how much preparation are you gonna do? Like, I need this amount of money. I would tell you stuff like that. I need to be here. I need to this. You like, yo, just have like.
So, there's no perfect time. There's no perfect amount of money. There's nothing like you can prepare all you want, but it doesn't matter. I remember one of our friends that we were close to in Michigan. They had a baby like 6 months before us. I remember he was like, yeah, just be prepared not to sleep a lot. I'm like, what you mean? He's like, yeah, the baby be up, so you got to be up too. And I'm like, how you do that? He goes, you just do it. And it was like that stuck with me until now. It's like, yeah, you just do it. Like, what are you gonna do? They're up, so you have to be up. So you just get up.
Oh yeah, that whole sleeping thing. Abby's probably slept through the night twice in 16 months. I remember I texted y'all a few weeks ago. I was like, she slept through the night. Like, but she basically is looking for comfort. Like, she goes to sleep 9:30, whatever, 8, and then she wakes up to look for comfort, which is usually the breast or whatever. She's not like up, and I'm a late sleeper, so it kind of is like,
you don't sleep. I don't even know.
Oh,
This guy send me texts at 4:00 in the morning. I'm like,
That's
I'll
my
wake up. I'm like, yo,
time.
what are you doing?
That's my time sometimes, and it'll catch up to me going to work or whatever. The next day, it's okay. It's like, you better go to sleep when you go home, but I can't sleep at 8:00. And probably Abby might be the same way or whatever, but she's looking for comfort, I guess. Like, she'll wake up and just drop back on you and whatever. But, you know, even that, sleeping with the baby, you know, we were scared to do that and all that, but she didn't want to be in a crib. She climbed out the crib very early, and
You sent me that video. I couldn't believe it. Yo,
and there was no looking back when she started climbing out the crib. So now we had to take the crib. Wife did a very good job in picking the crib, because now I didn't know you could take the side and replace it with like an opening.
Yeah, it turns into a bed. Yeah,
it turns into a bed. She would say it, but I was like, oh, okay. The crib took forever to put together, but then when we took the side off and put that in, now Abby just comes out. She runs to the room, you know, and then everything that goes through my mind now is, did you close the baby gate? Like, all the time. Did you close the baby gate? I'll wake up. Did I close the baby gate? Like, Abby knows now not to go down the stairs by herself or whatever, but it was early. Like, I remember waking up one morning and I was still home with Abby, and I was so tired because I didn't sleep from the night before probably. And she was out the bed in the bathroom. So my heart shook. She wasn't doing anything. She was looking at me. She might have been there for 10 seconds, because I usually can get up. I feel things. I'm not a deep sleeper unless I didn't sleep the night before. And I said, never again would I ever not sleep late, but I didn't close the door behind wife leaving for work. I didn't have the baby gate. It was like, you don't need to experience something bad to experience something bad for a dad. Yeah. Like, you start having premonitions and stuff like that, and you're like, son, don't do this. Like, all the things you used to take for granted, like falling asleep, yes, driving on the road, tired, pulling over to, you cannot do that. The preparation it takes to get a child ready in the morning. You could talk about.
No, yeah, I mean, it's, especially at that age, that young age. I remember one of my boys, he was like, yo, because he had his kid a couple years before we did, and he was like, I just love saying, put your shoes on, let's go. Before that, you know, you getting them dressed, you putting their shoes and everything. You got to do everything for them. He's like, once I got there, it was a game changer. And I got there, I was like, yo, you right. Put your shoes on, let's go.
Abby puts her shoes on, and I always tell you this. It's like Vegas and betting to me. You have a 50% chance as a kid to put your shoes on the right foot, and it seemed like kids never put it on the right foot.
They always put it on the wrong feet.
They always put it on the wrong foot. She somehow always gets it. She's gotten it wrong a few times. I'm not saying, oh, my baby's a genius, this and that, but she puts on her shoes and she climbs in the carriage, and you know she can't speak words yet, but she takes your finger and she goes over there, and I'm learning from her as a dad, like her cues, the things that.
So she's getting ready, like saying, like, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. It's crazy, and she does that with the nanny and pulls you, and it's like, oh, you should be anticipating this. And I remember, being an educator, they tell you have to prepare a lesson, this and that for your child. You got to prepare the milk. As I was talking about getting ready and having clothes the night before. I'm the type, I'm throwing on a t-shirt and shorts, whatever. That's who Ola is. No, you better be prepared for her, because she's prepared for you. Like, have the clothes out ready. You don't have to, but it helps in the morning. have the bottle and the Nestum and all that, the formula and everything ready to go, because she will not. It will help you in the morning, you know what I'm saying, and you just get better at it and better at it, and she grows, and it's reality. So what I want to do is bring in our good friend, our brother from another, via satellite. He's in another state, and he's actually a week away. Our friend Omo, he's a week away from having his first child, which he sees us because he's like a little brother to us, and like just like I watched you, he's watching me and all the things we do, all the things we talk about in terms of future, the what is it, the 529 accounts, and the getting ready and going to art school. He's a athlete like us, so he's not really a artsy guy, and he's a Nigerian like me, so it's more like you don't show as much emotion. I'm a little different though. I show a lot of emotion.
We know.
Yeah, but we talked about that doing those things, and now he's about a week away. So I'm gonna bring him in. We are back with a special guest, not just any guest, special guest.
Our boy Omo.
Out of state Omo, they call him.
They call him a lot of things.
So yeah, Southside's own. We were talking earlier about expectations and reality of being a father, and we talked about our expectations. We had our baby. And we talked about reality, what it is to live now as a father. You are in a very unique position. You are about 1 week away from delivering your first child.
38 weeks on Thursday. So at that point, the doctor just told us, be ready. You're on standby. So
he said it's above me now.
As far as I know, I can just get a call. I can get a call during this.
Right now, right? Yep.
This is your first child.
And I know of, yes.
His first child that you know of? Oh man.
Don't do that to him.
What are you, over these last 38 weeks, what has gone through your mind?
I would like to say everything has gone through my mind, where start thinking, am I ready? Did I buy everything that I need to buy? Do I have enough money for this child? My wife, is she good? Like, what does she need? I mean, any small movement in the bed at night, and I'm just like, yo, you good? Like, what's going on? Is it time to go?
Yeah, it used to be when it was a small movement at night, it was a different mindset, right?
Hey, what's going on? But now,
hey, big head.
Now you're just like, yo, like, you good? You good? You need help? And it's just, even that part of like being a bit powerless to like helping your spouse, where you see them just like walking sideways like a duck, and you're like, damn, I wish I could help you, but you got this.
Yeah, and we were talking about, I was talking about being helpless when we went through a scare when we had to do amniocentesis, and Lito talking about having a hole in the heart for his daughter. That helplessness as a dad, you talk about that?
I mean, like I remember, I would say the week before our anatomy scan, and the thing is, my wife always told me, like, I have probably one of the greatest poker faces everywhere. I just always seem cool, calm, and collected. And I had to explain to her, like,
it's a Nigerian thing.
Both of us. Huh?
It's a Nigerian thing.
Yeah, like I'm like, listen, I do this for both of us, because I can't ever have a look of panic and then you're looking at me like I'm the security, and if I'm panicking, I don't know what's gonna happen with you. So like that week before the anatomy scan, I'm just thinking, I'm like, Lord, I need 10 fingers and 10 toes, a healthy heart. I just need everything good. Like I don't want to hear any, because again, I went through my own little scare the year previously. So just this year, just looking at everything coming together, there's a certain amount of worry that I look at with not just the child, but also with my wife, because she's one that has this growing in her. Like her life is also in the balance. So I just wish I could do more. but I can't, and that it really just it sucks. It really sucks.
Nah, that's one of the hardest parts. Is like you want to be there and hope you could take some of the pain away, all that stuff. But it's like you only could do what you can do, right?
Yeah, like I mean, I've developed a new way of helping her get up from the couch where it's like I stick both of my hands out under her arms and then like I just kind of lean back and then she has to come up at the same time.
Oh, the Heimlich maneuver.
So I'm just like, all right, the little I can do to help, let me at least try. But
has it gone? Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I'm saying the one thing I know is that I have both of you as my resource, so that allows me to worry a lot less because I mean, Lito did this years ago. I don't know if it's still the same technology now as when Amanda was born.
You trying to say, yo, like
ancient daddy.
But I mean, yeah, just having this wealth of resource like allows me to be, at peace, I would say.
What do you think about like on a day-to-day basis in terms of like we were talking about being athletes and we're like, yo, one, you thinking before the gender reveal, you do you want, I mean, what you're going to have now, but did you, or Lito, I want a boy or I want a girl. Did I think about that?
Part of me I always wanted one of each at least. And the way I had it planned in my mind, of course, you never really have any say in this was it was going to be 2 boys and a girl, and there's going to be like a bracket where it's the boy first, the girl, and then another boy. So it's like she's protected about, right, from all sides. But I had the whole Project Mbappe in my head. I'm like, all right, cool. At 3 months, I'm having him kick the soccer ball. And then when his mom's not looking, I'm throwing the football at him. You got to catch it. I'm like, if you're not catching at 3 months, I don't know what we're doing here.
But then you got hit with the sonic boom.
With the sonic boom, I was like, oh, daddy's little girl.
What do I do with this?
Like, she can still kick a soccer ball, but we're not throwing the football at her.
And Lito?
No, I was like, I mean, I guess all of my answers is just like I took whatever came. It's like,
isn't like trying to inch towards a boy.
Like, I mean, I would love to have a boy. Yeah, because like the sports aspect of it, just like I guess all of us have that, right? Where we all grew up as athletes, and you want to have a boy, you could take him to the park, learn how to play basketball, whatever. I found out I was having a girl. I was like, okay, well, I could still do some of that stuff. That's what I thought before I found out she was an artist, but we still got hope.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Having a son is part of the reasons why I kept a lot of my kicks. Where I'm just like, he's gonna have some real vintage stuff. Where I'm like, yo, where did you get that from? Like, my dad, But
yeah, and I also got hit with I remember the whole gender not reveal. We didn't have a gender reveal, but it was like daddy's little girl, and I'm sitting in front of her and like I don't want to make it seem like oh my god, I'm not gonna enjoy this pregnancy, but I would say probably best for me Ola, this is personal, that I had a girl. I don't know, maybe I'm a little softer, I'm chilling, and boy comes, if I'm blessed with a boy, I'm good, but I'm very much happy.
I think
it's a healthy baby first.
I think that having a daughter changes your perspective on the world. Like you just see things differently. If you had a boy, you probably wouldn't have changed that mindset. Like I'm looking at little boys now. Like, yo, who raised you? What's going on, right? Because one of these boys is going to be her husband in the future, right? And I got to think about who's coming in and who's taking her out. What their family's like. Where before I probably never would have cared or thought about it.
But now you got me. She's not even here yet. I'm already thinking about that. And I already know, I mean, I'm in the way when you're watching this. I'm sorry, but the first guy that comes to the house, we're pulling the bad boys. Who is this tall?
That's for all of them.
All of them, yeah. Sorry, but we were young men too. We know. So, what's the one thing you've done that you probably said, I could never have saw myself doing just 5 years ago, like folding clothes for the like you put, you showed us the video the other day of like
All the
it's
clothes
all
and
the
stuff.
clothes
Yeah.
out. Like, what is something that you see has changed in you already as Omo?
So remember that video that I showed y'all? That used to be my closet. My clothes were hanging up in there. That was just all my clothes were in there. It's like I had them folded, I had them hung. I had to clear all that out, put them in a vacuum bag, and now I'm basically living with about maybe 10 shirts and a certain amount of pants because I'm just like, all right, my daughter comes first. And that thought, the first time it hit me, where I said, my daughter comes first. I'm just like, oh, now I'm taking a backseat to my wife and my daughter. I'm my third priority. And it's funny to look at yourself and you realize that you're not that important in the grand scheme of things. And one of the main things that I did, and oh, Lito, y'all know, was the car that I bought. The car I bought, the house that I'm currently building, I wasn't even really that interested, but like my mind was, I'm like, wait, I'm having a girl, my wife. I have my car that, oh, you had it at one point too.
The
It's
Acura
about,
TL.
the Acura, 2009 Acura TSX. Had it for 14, it's 14 years old now, but I've had it for 11 years. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm riding this till the wheels fall off. But then I'm like, my wife and my daughter gonna be in that? What if that breaks down on the side of the road? Like, I'm like, oh, hell to the no. I'm like, oh, babe, what do you want? She's like, oh, I like this Acura. I'm like, nah, forget the Acura. I like Acura too, but let's go look at Mercedes real quick. And then we looked at the Mercedes. She's like, oh, I like this. I'm like, well, let's just look at Acura real quick and see, since you said you really like it. And she's like, yeah, the Acura ain't doing it anymore. So, I mean, I would never have gone to, in my mind, I never thought I'd be buying something brand new until just that thought of warranty, reliability. I need to know that they're not on the side of the road.
Wow, this guy's looking up child safety features and ratings. What is it? J, what's that?
IIHS.
Before it was horsepower and that interior seat color and stuff like that. Yeah, and I'm the type, I had salvage cards. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Like you know. So like changing your mindset and saying, is this safe? Is this something, I could go look up ratings and things like that? Yeah, I had that I had to do that metamorphosis too. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say, but my question for Leo, like, you were in Detroit, like, away from family, away from everyone. How did you cope with, like, having your child just not really having that help of, being in the middle of New York where you just know, all right, everybody's around, this person might drop by, this person might drop by, but it's like you're just there in cold ass Michigan, like Dolo.
And that's kind of what, before I let Lito answer, that's kind of what you were doing, right? Kinda.
For me, you know how Nigerians do.
Yeah, they move everywhere. We carry last.
Well, one good thing is her sister lives here in Houston, so it's good. We had that support system, and then I'm important. Her mom is coming. Eventually, my mom is gonna come down. So it's creating a little
Little. A whole village.
yeah, where we have that support that we need. But yeah, I mean, I've met a lot of good people. One of my really good friends from college, he lives down here. He just had a baby last year, so I'd say I had that support more than, I don't know, Lito was.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Lito.
No, I was the same. Like we had my mother-in-law came to live with us for a few months at the beginning. So that was very helpful because I didn't get no paternity leave. Back in the Stone Age, they didn't give paternity leave to the men. So I took like 2 weeks of vacation and I was back at work. So we had my mother-in-law helping out. One thing we did, if we ever like needed a babysitter, my daughter's daycare, the teachers would be like, yeah, I'll babysit. Like, so we paid them to babysit. We also had a friends that lived in Michigan that had a baby like 6 months before us. So they were, helpful for us too. Cause if we needed not a break, but just friends to hang out with. We would go down to Ann Arbor and hang out with them, or they would come to our house and chill with us. So it was always, I mean, it wasn't like we had nobody, but we, we kind of built a network, a little network from where we were. But I mean, we came back to New York for a reason. I think that was mostly why, because we didn't have that, big help that you need to raise a kid. It takes a village. That's what they say, right?
Yeah, and I'm fortunate enough to have in-laws that are on the younger side for the grandparents, but also very close. And my mom is retired basically, and she's able to just hop, skip, and a jump come through. But we're gonna talk about that, being having childcare and from a father perspective. But yeah, it takes a village. I'm not gonna ever sugarcoat it. Have those conversations, especially as a man. Be realistic. We're talking about reality. Be living the real. Don't live in the, oh, God will take care of it. I've heard that before. That's fine. But every day you got to take care of that kid, and God will come along and enhance, but that's the real. So what are you expecting those first few days with sleep, with whatever? Like, what are you saying? Like, all right, I got to get myself ready for this. Exactly.
Not sleeping, or not sleeping properly that first, let's say that first month.
Good answer.
Good answer.
You probably go longer than a month though.
Huh?
Probably go longer than a month.
Low key is with my wife having to get up so much in the middle of the night now to use the bathroom because the baby's already head down waiting to come out. That constant waking up is I'm kind of like, all right, is this what it's going to be? Okay, I think I'm ready, but again, I feel like with a lot of things, we always think that we're ready until it really hits you. Like, not many exams I thought I was ready for until I saw question number 3.
Nothing's gonna get you ready. Like nothing will get you 100% ready.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, and my wife is a big researcher. She's like, studies have shown, the expert said. I'm like, who? I'm like, who? How many kids do they have? They're like, oh, they say the baby can't. I'm like, did the baby tell them that? How? You let me know. If you can tell me without a shadow of the doubt that the baby said this, then I'll be like, all right, this is how we go. This is how we're gonna go with it moving forward. But I'm like, nobody really ever knows. So it's just, we're living on vibes.
On vibes. One thing I would tell you, I told my sister this when she was having her first child. I was like, yo, don't listen to nobody, not even me. Because whatever works for me, and you're going to find out what's going to work for you through trial and error. It's not to say like you can't ask for advice and you could try different things, see what works, but don't listen to nobody, because you're going to have to figure out whatever's going to work for your daughter, man, because we don't know. You're going to be around her the most. You're going to talk to her the most, see her the most. So you're going to know what she's going to respond to and what she's not. So don't listen to nobody. That's my best advice to every parent.
Don't listen, but listen. Like, we grew up listening to our parents, and that's probably how we're going to raise our kids. Then all the father figures we saw around, from uncles to, older cousins to Heathcliff Huxtable to, the Heathcliff on TV. Not the guy playing Heathcliff.
Not Bill Cosby.
Yeah. To just any father figures we saw, Uncle Phil, whatever. Obviously not going to raise them the same way. Obviously some things are fake, some things are real, but play it by ear, I thought when I become a father, because, I went through whatever I went through, I would be religious. I might even, it crossed my mind, do I hit my child? Things of that nature, if they misbehave. You grow up a certain way, right? And then you're looking at this kid, you're like, I could never lay a hand on this little girl, right? I could never yell. I don't even raise my voice, but I think going along as she grows up, and if I have any other children, you play it by ear.
Yeah.
Play
I
by
mean,
ear.
I told myself that I'm not. I'm gonna adjust what our parents did because I mean, I grew up with just my mom, and I think when the Bible said "spare the rod, spoil the child," she took it very literal. I mean, you know, you know how. Listen, immigrants. I'm not going to say just Nigerians. Immigrants. We know how we grew up with our parents, where it's like number one, failure wasn't an option, and I don't know if like a part of me always used to feel like it might have been some of the frustrations of life, like they were doing things that they didn't plan on doing, and then you just have this one child that you're doing everything for, and they're messing up according to your standard. Because I was afraid to bring home an 88 to my mother. I'm over here thinking, how can I?
How can you find the 12 points before you get home?
Like, where can I find the 12? It doesn't matter that my 88 was the top of the class. It was I need to find that 12 before she gets home at 7:20.
Omo, what happened to the other 12?
Like, that's the thing. But like, hey,
Yeah.
very good. Yeah, successful failure.
88. I might go Irvin. Don't come home. I know that feeling, but we were going to talk about that too with cultural influences being a father. We grew up from in immigrant households. But we grew up in America, but in our house was Nigerian and Jamaican and things of that nature and whatever it was. It's a different ball game growing up, going home within your four walls, and then your culture is telling you one thing, you go outside, it's something else. As a father, knowing how you grew up, I can't say what would you change, but is there something you're kind of, because for me it's being more patient. Can't say my parents was as patient with schoolwork. My father, was very cut and dry with math, especially. Like, this is what it is. How you don't get this. But I know for me it was being more patient, because I grew up in a more patient society in America than it was in my four walls. What is something that you think you may change?
I want to be more encouraging. Definitely more encouraging and let them know that, like, I don't want, for lack of a better term, I'll say failure is temporary. You didn't do well on this exam. It doesn't mean you're not going to do well on the next one. I mean, again, I told you I was scared to bring home grades that other kids in my class were getting Jordans for. Like, I'm seeing, Daniel and Tyrone, they were getting the new 11s because he got a 80, maybe a 80. And I have this, 88, 94, and I'm just like, oh my God, what am I going to tell this lady? So just that patience, I want to have the patience so that my child knows that she can make some mistakes, but that she can learn from her mistakes. Because I feel like it's very important to learn from other people's mistakes, yeah, but you also have to kind of make your mistakes to know, yeah, well, I shouldn't do this again because these are the outcomes.
Lito.
Yeah, I look at parenting like coaching almost. Like, you got to know what's going to motivate the kid at that point. Sometimes you need to yell at them. Sometimes you need to encourage them. Sometimes you might not need to say anything. You might just look at them a certain way. But it's like different situations call for different ways to get the results you want. So I look at it that way. So there's some coaches I played for, they only knew one way. They just yelled at you until you got it right. Our high school coach was really good at switching it up. Like, sometimes it was encouragement. Sometimes when it was time to yell at us, he yelled at us. He challenged us as well. So I try to use all of those tactics and try not to, you can't stick to one thing. But
Quiet as kept, though. Our coach in high school, he was very young. He actually taught me a lot about relating. I don't say being a father, but relating to a child, especially at that age. Like, we were like trying to stick our chest out, but like, if you knew our high school coach, you know him now, it was my like, yo, you used to get chest out, my chest is bigger. And you gonna listen, because we all got our testosterone running through our veins. We think we the man and ball, but I learned a lot definitely as a educator, but definitely as being relating to young men, being patient, because we did a lot of boneheaded stuff. But yeah, that really taught me a lot, and I never really shared that. But that was I had a father at home, two older brothers, everything. But like seeing someone in school, and I would say I learned a lot from. That was one of my outside influence I learned over those 3 years being a student of his, a player of his. That stuff is real father figure stuff,
It is, yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
so a question I have based on this question that you asked when you say, what would we change or what would we adjust? You know, I look at the three of us right now, and I think we're well-adjusted members of society. Some people
That's debatable.
It's debatable.
But we've done well for ourselves. We're in positions where we can look at where we are and say we've done good so far. Like we've done well. So looking at how we're trying to adjust, the way our parenting techniques, would you say that we got here in spite of how our parents raised us, or because of how our parents raised us?
No.
That's a good question, because I was thinking about that too. Like sometimes I feel like I'm a little bit too soft, and I'm creating. So what's that saying? Tough times create tough people create easy times create weak people create tough times, right? So I'm like, I can't raise a weak person. I gotta if I'm doing things for her and making it too easy, she's gonna be weak and she won't be able to do stuff for herself, and later on things are gonna be hard for her, right? So I think you got a point. Your parents are hard on you. You can either lean into it and do what it is you got to do, or you just go the complete opposite way and like, I'm not doing nothing because this lady's crazy, right? Or whatever you feel at the time. But it's like a balancing act, man. You got to zig and zag and do the right thing at the right time.
Yeah, it there's no playbook. I keep saying it. As you about to enter that journey, it's a beautiful journey. Let us know if you shed a tear, because I definitely was talking about that earlier. How, it was Simba.
Like listen, I probably will, and I've come to terms with that. At my wedding, my eyes were dried in the Sahara. Like if you ask my wife, I don't have emotions. Like she says, I appear like somebody who just does not. I appear like a rock. Like she's like, do you feel? I'm like, what do you mean? Do I feel? Of course I feel. I'm like, I cried in 2011 when my grandmother died. She's like, what about since then? I'm like, I be feeling things sometimes every now and then, but I've come to realize that my soft spot is kids. Like kids are my soft spot. Like because looking at adults, I know I've been to many funerals. You're just like, damn, this shouldn't have happened, blah blah blah. But we move on. But seeing kids who they're powerless. Like they can't do certain things. They don't have the knowledge that we have. And then when they're not feeling well, Lord God, that's the one that scares me. Like when if or when my child has a cold and they're just like, that when they look like they're kind of struggling to breathe, it's like just looking at them, like I just feel for them. I don't know. But yes, long story short, I really should be tear. This just gonna be all, and I'm probably like, where's it coming from? Looking all ugly and shit.
That's all built up since 2011. They all gonna come at one time.
Yep, but I would say, Omo, we wish you the best. We will be there, not there, like in the emergency room, but just like when with you guys, I was like, yo, I'm about to go in. Here it is, mask on, ready to get in, first string. I'm in there, so we hope that you go through what we went through in terms of coming out with a healthy baby girl. And you're never gonna have a boy if you just know almost history. But
Oh my God! Wow.
No, you to go through what
If
we
my
went
father
through.
can have me, I can have a boy.
And your wife definitely health. And we'll talk about this a little later. But because me and Lito, I guess, more well versed on helping our wives going through postpartum depression and helping women go through that. So yeah, I know you're gonna be there. We know you're gonna be a good father. We were at the baby shower about a month ago, and it was a great time. And the journey begins, right, Lito?
It was a great time. I mean,
a great time was had by all.
A great time was had by all.
All in all, we had a ball.
But anything last thing you want to say, Lito, before we let you go?
Nah, almost same, man. Congratulations again. Like, I know, you about a week or two away, or maybe a day away. We don't know. But, whenever it happens, obviously you're going to let us know. We all going to be happy. We can't wait to see her and meet her.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. And again, if y'all get random text messages in the middle of the night saying, yo, did the baby do this for y'all? Just answer me where you can. That's all I'm saying.
Definitely. All right. That's our call with Omo. We'll be right back. We're back. We had our great conversation with our brother from another Omo. And we are going to wrap it up in terms of this episode, expectations versus reality. Reality is every day we wake up being a father. We got our expectations, but our kids throw curveballs, knuckleballs, sliders, and maybe fastballs from time to time. The screwball, Phil Necro, that's the reality of it, but we got to adjust, right? We call an audible at the line of scrimmage. Always sports references with us, right?
I mean, that's what it's going to be, man.
So we're there, but before we go, I'm going to say my dad joke of the week, right? Corny dad jokes are always funny, but I know my baby, she's going to love hearing these jokes when she understands what I'm talking about. So I'm going to just say my dad joke of the week. I wrote this one down. Here it goes, Lito. Why do fathers take an extra pair of socks when they go golfing?
Oh, this is easy. In case they get a hole in one. I got one for you, though. What do you call a cow with no legs?
I haven't been a dad that long, so I don't know.
Ground beef.
This guy.
Ground beef.
This guy.
Come on, ground beef.
All right, so this has been our first episode of Daddy Issues. Please subscribe, tell a friend. We're gonna have, you guys can look at the description and send us any questions you have as we go forward. We'll read questions. We'll talk about things. Real quick before we go, we didn't get to dad libs. What's our favorite? So.
Oh, okay. What you want to do?
Which you have an 8-year-old, right?
Yep.
What was your favorite age having her?
Oh, my favorite age.
I look forward up to 8, obviously.
Yeah, you guys are not there yet. Age 4 was my favorite age. They are still innocent and don't have opinions yet, but they're not like babies and like you don't need to do everything for them. Mm-hmm. Age 4, man, it was the perfect age. I had a lot of fun. I loved it a lot. I remember like my daughter was like 2 and we were babysitting a 4-year-old and I was talking to the girl and I'm like, you are actually like a person. I can't wait until she's 4. So yeah, I really enjoyed that age. So you got something to look forward to, you and Omo, in the next few years. But yeah, 4 years old was great.
Say for me, she's up to 16 months. It was when she was -4 in the womb at 4 months. Because my wife could still move around and still do what she had to do for me. No, I'm just playing. It was for me, it was right before she started walking, but like she started smiling. I would say that's 4 months. I think she was 4 months when she started smiling. That first smile, my God. I was like, yo, she's like a whole human, but there's going to be more moments where you say, yo, she actually answers. She answers me now. I just don't know what she's saying. Or she knows, like I said, what's your name? She says her name now. It's the cutest thing. But it was about 4 months she started smiling. She wasn't running all over the place. She was looking to me to pick her up first time and using me to try to get up and try and walk. She tried very early, so I would say 4 months was, I think, good. But if you say 4 years, I'm looking forward to 3 years from now. You know,
Yeah, it's a great age.
It's a great age. So, like I said before, that was Dad Lives. We always do a favorite thing of ours. You know, whether it's what kind of milk we like for her or museum or zoo, we'll talk about that. But this has been our first episode of Daddy Issues, Expectations versus Reality. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. You can look at this on the nasarima.com. It's a whole thing, and we look forward. Anything else, Lito? Any words of wisdom? Anything?
That's it. We see y'all soon. We'll be back.